Assalamu alaikum Blifians, you're watching Blifi, the place to be for Muslim life hacks to follow our deen more easily. Now, Ramadan is coming and a lot of you said that you have exams coming in Ramadan. So, in this video, let's look at how you can ace your exams as well as be on top of your Ramadan inshallah this time. So, let's get right into it. So, the first point is going to show you how you can turn your study into a form of ibadah. It is very easy. Let me show you how. All you have to do is when you study, you have to make the intention to study for the sake of Allah. You have to make sure that whatever you're doing it for Allah. Now, how would you do this even if you're not studying the deen or anything related to the deen? Well, here's an example. So, if you are a medical student, you can make your intention that you are studying for your medical exam so that when you pass and you become a doctor or get into the field of medicine, inshallah you can help others by curing them with the help of Allah and helping them feel better. So Allah loves it when you help somebody feel better, and that way your actions will be a way of pleasing Allah. So indirectly, when you study for your medical exam, you are connecting your study for the pleasure of Allah and you're doing it for the sake of Allah. You can apply this method to any subject, whether it's maths, English, science, whatever exam you're studying for, no matter what subject it is, no matter what field you're in or career you're in, as long as it's a halal field. Another way you can do this is by understanding that Allah has created this world and everything, all the knowledge in this world is from Allah. So Allah loves it when we try to learn about His creations and understand the beauty of the things He has created. So, you can start studying with the intention of studying the creation of Allah and the beauty of Allah's creation. And that way, again, you can convert your study. Every single second you spend studying for your exam and preparing for it will be converted into a form of ibadah, inshallah. And that way, you can be doing ibadah and studying in Ramadan while also earning rewards for preparing for your exams, inshallah. The second tip to help you balance your Ramadan and exams is to make sure that before you start studying and while you study, as well as when you finish studying, you are reciting du'as that will help you absorb the knowledge so much better. And also, don't forget to recite du'as before your exams, after your exams. There are so many du'as that can help you. The main du'a I'm going to tell you in this video is to ask Allah to increase you in knowledge. And you say this before you start studying anything. You can even do this after you start studying something or when you start feeling that something is difficult while you're studying. So this dua is from the Quran and it is Rabbi Zidni Ilma, which means, oh Allah, increase me in knowledge. Now, other du'as that you can recite to help you in your exams and studying are du'as related to helping you ease your challenges and to make it easy for you to get through it, as well as opening your heart and being able to absorb the information, being able to make sure that the words you give out in your exams are understandable by the examiner so that whatever you write in the exam is inshallah good and you get the marks for it. So, make sure you look for these du'as, or inshallah maybe I can compile a list for you guys and make a new video on that. So if you want that, let me know in the comments down below. So that was the second tip, to make sure you start your studying with a du'a, finish it with a du'a, and also make sure you have the intentions to do it for Allah. Now, the third point to help you balance your exams and study in Ramadan is to understand your strengths and to act upon them. What I mean here is that when you're fasting, some of us cannot study while you're fasting and some of us can study while fasting. We all are different. We all have different methods of studying. We all have different ways to cope when we're studying and fasting, right? So for example, when I had exams in Ramadan, I was just unable to study when I was fasting. It was just hard for me. I just could not do it. No matter how much I tried, studying for me during fasting was not easy for me because I had to drink water. I like to munch on things when I'm studying, and that's why for me, studying while I was fasting was not easy. So in this situation, my weakness was that I could not study during the daytime when I had to fast. That means my strength was to study at a time when I could eat and drink, which was after iftar and before suhoor. Obviously, that was nighttime when we had to sleep, but that was the only option I had if I wanted to be prepared for my exams. So, similarly, if you have a situation that prevents you from studying or preparing for your exams in Ramadan, then make sure you act on your strengths and not focus on your weaknesses. If studying during daytime is good for you, then make the best use of that. Similarly, if studying at night time is the best for you, then make the best use of that. Make a timetable that suits you according to your strengths at the different times of the day, inshallah. While we're talking about strengths and timetables, I want to mention a very important point here. No matter which time of the day you're studying, make sure that you don't miss out on any of your fard responsibilities, even as a student. Studying is important, there's no doubt about that, but what's more important than that is praying on time. So when you're studying and it's prayer time, make sure you take a break from studying and then you go and pray. Because remember, Bliffians, your prayer is your strength. Your connection with Allah is your strength. No matter how much you study or how much you earn, Allah is the giver of rizq. He is Ar-Razzaq. He can give what you need. He is the one who created time. So if you have less time to study, then you need to make sure you consult the one who created time. Make sure you keep up with your responsibilities between yourself and Allah, so that everything else, when you follow the deen, everything else in the dunya will be so much easier, inshallah. So prayer is your strength. So make sure you do not compromise. Make sure you do your fard salahs and everything else that is required, which is fard. And one way you can do this is whenever you're studying, take a break during prayer times. So that way you'll feel so much fresher when you come back from prayer and back into studying. It makes such a big difference. Just make sure you try it and do not miss any of your fard salahs, inshallah. So that was the third point about understanding your strengths and using them to the best of your abilities. Now, coming on to the fourth tip to help you balance your exam study and Ramadan is to sleep well. I understand that in the northern hemisphere, Ramadan is going to happen during summer, so obviously the nights are going to be shorter and the days are going to be longer. The way you can sleep better in this situation is to make use of afternoon naps. Afternoon naps are also very rewarding because they are a sunnah, and when you follow them, you get rewarded for following a sunnah. To explain the importance of sleeping well, imagine if your neighbor is trying to cut down a tree from morning till evening and he's just not making any progress. So, when you go to see what the situation is, you see that his axe is very blunt. So, you tell him that, why don't you sharpen your axe, then you can cut your tree faster. And if your neighbor says that, I don't have time to sharpen this axe, I need to get this tree down ASAP, how are you going to feel? That's exactly what I'm saying. Sharpening your axe involves sleeping and taking care of yourself. When you're feeling sharp, you can tick off all your goals and study and feel so much more prepared than you would have without sleep. Also, don't stay up at night unless you know that you cannot study during the day. It is very important that we do not stay up at night doing all sorts of random things and then sleeping during the day and missing our fard salahs. Ramadan is not about that. So even if you have exams and you feel like studying at night is the best time, and if you need to sleep during the day because of that, then make sure you do not make that a reason to miss your fard salahs, inshallah. We are not like that. We are young Muslims, we are confident, we manage our time well, and let's not make exams, school, study, college, all of those a reason for missing our responsibilities as a Muslim. When you follow the deen, the dunya will become so much more easier for you too, inshallah. So that was the fourth tip, to make sure you sleep well and to make yourself so much more fresher and sharper so that you can cut your goals and ace those exams, inshallah. The fifth point to help you balance your study and exam in Ramadan is to plan ahead. It is important, once again, that no matter what, we keep up with our fard salahs and our fard responsibilities as a Muslim. So for this, we need to make sure that our study timetable and schedule does not clash with any prayer timings. And similarly, when it comes to exams, if it is clashing with any prayer timings, then we make sure that we make arrangements for it beforehand. In extreme cases of necessity, you're allowed to combine Zuhr and Asr prayer together. Similarly, you're also allowed to combine Maghrib and Isha prayer together. And once again, it is important to keep in mind that this is only during case of extreme necessities. So, for example, if your exam starts before Zuhr prayer and ends after the Azan for Asr prayer, then you can pray Zuhr and Asr together at Asr time. Similarly, if you know that your exam is going to start before the Azan of Asr prayer and finishes by sunset, then you can pray Zuhr and Asr together before your exam begins. And the same goes for Maghrib and Isha. Now, similarly, make sure you make arrangements for if your exam is clashing with iftar timings. Now, I had evening exams which clashed with iftar timings. What that meant is I had to keep with me a date, some fruit, some juice, some water, everything that I needed, some snacks on my table. Alhamdulillah, for my exams, we were allowed to bring in food and water, whatever we needed for our exams, as long as we're not cheating with the packaging on it, right? So if your iftar and exam timings are clashing, then check with your coordinators or whoever your teaching staff is and make some arrangements so that you can make sure you do your iftar during your exam, even if it's just one date. And also, if you're not allowed to have food into your exam, then you can just do your iftar with some water, inshallah. As a recap, the 5 tips to help you balance your exam study and Ramadan are: number 1, to make your intention to study for the sake of Allah and to convert your study time into ibadah time. The second tip is to make sure you do your du'as before studying, during studying, after studying, before your exam, during your exam, and after exam. And the dua we learned in this video was Rabbi Zidni Ilma. The third tip in this video was to understand your strengths and to use them to the best of your abilities. And one of the biggest strengths we have as Muslims is our prayers, so do not miss them, inshallah. The fourth tip in this video was to sleep well and to sharpen your axe so that you can be fresher and sharper while you're studying, inshallah. And the fifth tip that we discussed in this video was to plan ahead and to make sure that you make arrangements for any clashes with exams, study timings, prayer timings, and iftar timings. Also, Jazakumullahu khairan to everybody who contributed to this video by sharing your tips on Instagram for how to balance your exam and study in Ramadan. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more Muslim life hacks like this. Until next time, live your beliefs and stay tuned to Bliffy. That you have exams coming in on it. There's a spider. Look at that. Can you see it? Ah! Even if you're not. So that was the third tip, to understand your strengths and to make the best use of them. What did I say? Because guys, remember, praying is a strength. Whoa, wait. What is happening?
So my dream for Jannah grows day by day, and I pray to Allah to guide me all the way till I make it to His paradise.